Well, hello there. This is RPOS, Execution Excellence, quick tip number 15. So, people are spending lots of time now doing scope scrub, risk-based scope review. So that's becoming a better and better understood concept of turnaround execution excellence. And people are even starting to understand that they need to put a lot of effort into their scope control mechanisms. And and those things there are excellent things that I want to see people working on, but you are really, in terms of saving money, at that point, working on your incremental savings as opposed to where the big money really lies. And if you still have huge amounts of effort being put into trying to micromanage the precise wage deal with your contractors, then I wouldn't even call that managing the incrementals. I mean, really, from a turnaround team perspective, the cost of labor is a fixed cost, and I really strongly advise people to just leave it alone. You know, if procurement wants to mess around with that at some high level and gain, 3 cents an hour off the Boilermakers, that's fine. But there's no real big money here. The big money, on the other hand, is in your indirects. And it is pretty normal for us in the consulting world to be hearing numbers with teams out there where, oh, well, we did the review on our last turnaround and the indirect costs were 50%, 55%, 60%. I myself have been exposed to indirect costs literally at 68%. So I want to say this, that the totally achievable Western Canadian standard should be 25 or 28%. And numbers 25 in the low 20s, and even people that are really good at this getting indirects down into the teens, is all doable. But let's just say we're just interested in cutting our indirects in half. We're one of those companies that forensics has shown us that we're executing currently with an indirect cost of 50 to, let's say, 65%. That number is now super easy to cut in half. And you don't need to take my word for it. All you need to do is look at your peers in the industry that are executing at best in class and see what kind of indirect numbers they are getting. So let's keep the numbers simple. If we're talking about $100 million turnaround spend, and forensics shows that 60% of our cost in our $100 million spend was indirects, then that is 600 million of our $100 million that went to indirects. In other words, work that didn't involve pulling on a wrench or welding a pipe. So if we can reduce that by 50%, we're talking about a $300 million opportunity. And the only reason that people aren't putting more effort into managing their indirects directly, to my way of thinking, is political. Because the way to control these out of control indirects is very, very well understood. Most people that are looking at 50 and 60%, well, all people that are looking at 50 and 60% indirects are looking at multiple levels of repeating the same work, right? You got multiple copies of people doing the same precise work. So here's how it all ends. If you really want to take on the big money, if you really, if we stick with that $100 million example, if you really want access to the $300 million that is easily, readily available to you, what do you need to do? You need to have one planning team, one scheduling team, one event management team. The biggest reason that people's indirect costs skyrocket is from having multiple managing groups in the same venue, so that now they're having to repeat things like administrative costs, payroll costs. Each different contractor's got their own. If you want to know more, just give me a call. I'd love to talk about this. I'm passionate about this subject. Your big money, if you haven't already done this, if you aren't already down into these kind of, let's say less than 30% on indirects, if you're not executing with less than 30% indirects, the big money that you can save on your turnaround process is actually just in getting control of that part. You have to execute as one team to have any hope of being able to control that. Thank you for your time. This has been Execution Excellence Quick Tip number 15. Have a good day.